Chapter 5. Peter comes to the rescue. The pirates were preparing a plank of wood on the ship. It looked like a diving board, but it wasn't. "Bring up the prisoners," cried Hook. When the boys were lined up in front of him. "Now, children," said Hook, "will you obey my order to become pirates? Or will you walk to a plank?" The little boys hesitated. They were very scared. But Wendy bravely stepped forward. "Pirates are bad," she cried. Then she turned to the boys. "Think of your mothers. Would they still love you if you were bad pirates like Hook?" The boys thought for a moment. "No, we refuse to be pirates," said all the children. Hook became very angry. "Tie it up," he yelled. "So, my beauty, now you will watch the boys walk the plank. They will all drown in the sea." "Peter will save us," cried Wendy. "No, he won't. I poisoned his water," said Hook, laughing. "He is not dead, ha ha." Wendy and the boys were sad and began to cry. Hook took a step toward Wendy. Suddenly, he stopped moving. He heard that horrible sound again. Tick, 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 tick. "Oh no, hide me," cried Hook. "It's trying to come onto the ship." The pirates gathered all around him. They pulled out their swords to fight. The boys ran to the side of the ship to see the crocodile. But it wasn't the crocodile. It was Peter. He was making the ticking sound. The boys were very excited to see him again. They clapped and shouted with joy. At last Peter climbed on board the ship. "Peter Pan, you're not dead," cried Hook. "Come on, Hook. Prepare to die," yelled Peter. "You prepared to die. I will take my revenge for my hand. Come on. See if you can defeat me." The fight began. There was a loud crash of steel. They fought backward and forward all over the ship. Finally, Peter stabbed Hook with his dagger. Hook began to bleed and stabbed backward. Then he slipped and fell overboard into the water. Alas, the real crocodile was waiting for him in the sea. Now it was time to go home. Together, they all flew over the sea and over the mountains. Sometime later, they arrived near Wendy's hometown, but Peter still wanted Wendy to stay with him in Neverland. "Be quick, Tink," he said. "Let's go first." Peter and Tinkerbell flew faster and arrived before the others. "Close the window and lock it," said Peter. "Wendy will think her mother has already forgotten her." Then he heard Mrs. Darling sobbing in the next room. "Come back, Wendy," she cried. "Come back, my children." She loves Wendy, John, and Michael very much, thought Peter. He felt bad, so he opened the window again. Wendy and the boys arrived home at last. "Yes, the window is open," said Wendy. All of them were so pleased they flew into the room. "Mother, we are home," they cried. Mr. and Mrs. Darling ran into the room and Nana followed them. "Oh my, our children have come home." They hugged the children and cried. Nana barked merrily. They were all so happy. Mr. and Mrs. Darling welcomed the lost boys too. They are not lost boys anymore. Soon, Peter and Tinkerbell were ready to leave. "Goodbye, boys," said Peter. Bye, Wendy. Keep telling your wonderful stories. Then Peter was off on another adventure with Tinkerbell. Wendy and the boys stood for a long time at the window. They waved and waved until Tinkerbell's light faded away in the night sky.